Okay, so let's come to sitting in the centre of the mat, crossing the legs. You can pop a block or a cushion underneath the bottom if you want to, just to raise the hips a little bit, or just make sure you're sitting forward and you can feel the sitting bones underneath you. Bring the legs into a comfortable position and rest the hands onto the knees. As you exhale, let the shoulders melt down the back. Chin is tucked just slightly down so that you can extend the back of the neck, and there's a gentle lift through your posture. Take a nice deep inhale through the nose and take a long exhalation as you close the eyes. Continue your breathing, trying to make your exhale longer than your inhale to bring the body into that relaxation and calm response. Try to bring awareness toward the belly and the diaphragm. Stomach expanding as you inhale, and as you exhale, contracting. Gradually trying to guide yourself into the present moment, recognizing any thoughts about the future or from the past, and just gently bringing yourself back into the present. And trying to do this and focus on this throughout your practice. And to begin, we're just going to come into a breathing exercise, alternate nostril breathing. So leaving our left hand on the left knee, just bring the right hand up to your nose, the ring finger hovering over the left nostril and the thumb hovering over your right nostril. The middle and index finger just rest sort of between the eyebrows at the top of the nose. And we'll close the left nostril so the right is open. And what we're going to be doing is breathing in through the right and then out through the left, and then breathing in through the left, out through the right, and we'll do that 3 times. And this helps just to clear the sinuses a little bit and bring a bit more efficiency to our breathing for the practice. So the right thumb is open, a nice deep belly inhale through the right. 4, 3, 2, 1. Retain the breath, switch the fingers. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale left. 3, 2, 1. Retain the breath, switch the fingers. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale right, nice and slowly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deep inhale right. 3, 2, 1. Retain, switch. 3, 2, 1. Exhale left, nice and slow. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale left. 3, 2, 1. Retain. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last round. Inhale right. 3, 2, 1. Retain. Keep the body relaxed. Switch the fingers. 3, 2, 1. Exhale left. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale right. Inhale left. 3, 2, 1. Retain. Keep the body relaxed. Shoulders down. 3, 2, 1. Exhale right. Long, slow. 3, 2, contract the tummy, squeeze all of the air out. Relax the right hand back down, return to your natural rhythm of breath. And let's have a few ujjayi breaths using that yogi breath. Slight constriction in the throat, creating the oceanic sound as you breathe. Let's take 3 more breaths. Awareness in the present moment. And bring the hands to the heart, thumbs pressing against the chest. Softly bow the head down. On an inhale, open the eyes gently. Good. And we're going to bring those fingertips just behind us. Open the front of the body, push the chest forward. Squeezing the shoulder blades behind, looking up to the ceiling. 2, 1. And come back up to the center. On an exhale, reach the fingertips away from you. Push the hips back behind you. Try to breathe length into the spine. Neck is in line with your back. 2 more mindful breaths. Keeping that exhale longer than your inhale. And release, lift up to the center. Rock forward onto the hands and tuck the toes under behind you so that you're sitting back on the heels, feeling a nice stretch down the backs of the feet. At any point if that gets uncomfortable, then just point the feet and sit back on the heels. And we're just going to drop the chin down to the chest, keeping the back and posture nice and straight. And then inhale, lift, and let the head drop back, trying to keep the neck as soft as you can. And again, dropping the chin down to the chest and lifting it back up, dropping the head back. So really simple movements. Taking 3 more. You can go in your own time. Try to move with your breath. Keep that neck really relaxed. The neck is pretty much always trying to keep soft in our asana postures. Maybe coming on to your last one now. And then we're just going to take one nice long neck roll round to the right side. So drop the chin down, take it nice and slow, never being too forceful. So keep gentle with your neck all the way around. When the chin finds the chest again, just come round to your left side of the body, rolling the neck round. Good, lovely. And lift the head back up, come forward onto the hands. Coming into our tabletop position, so I'm just going to turn to the side. So really spread those fingers actively wide, press down into the mat, wrists right underneath the shoulders and the knees underneath your hips. And we're going to start with just moving the pelvis. So try to keep the neck in line with the back, so your gaze is just between the hands. Draw the shoulder blades down the back and try to keep the head and the upper back completely still. And just focus on your pelvis moving for this cat-cow. So push the hips up to the ceiling, like you're trying to show your sitting bones up to the sky. And then as you contract your tummy in and exhale, tuck the tailbone under, still trying to keep that upper back straight and in line. So it should feel like really hard work. I'm almost shaking as I'm trying to squeeze the tailbone under. And then push the hips back up to the ceiling. And this is trying to extend the lower back. So this lifting of the hips is what we try and get in down dog and then forward folds. And exhale, contract and squeeze the bottom under. One more time. Inhale up. Exhale, contract. Good, lovely. And we're just going to take some rib rotations. So you can move with your own needs. So where it feels tight, you can stay there for longer, but we're basically moving the ribs in a circular movement, and the head is coming along with that movement. You can pause wherever you feel a bit of tightness in your back. And try to really move with your breath. So your breath is like your music. You can listen to it, feel the rhythm of it. Changing direction if you haven't already. Just warming up the spine, the shoulders, the neck. Awakening the body. Lovely. Coming back to the center, we're going to sit back in our child's pose. So bring the toes together. Knees are just wider than hips. And then we sit back toward the heels. Try to keep the upper body and the hands nice and relaxed. And then rest that forehead down onto the mat. If you want to, you can roll the head side to side to massage the forehead on the mat. And you can also rock your hips side to side a little bit. And it can feel like it kind of helps you to loosen up and just surrender to the mat. Really let go, let gravity do the work. Two more deep breaths. For the last breath, make that exhale nice and long. And lift back up onto all fours. Lining up those hands, making sure the palms and fingers are pressing down. Let's step back to a high plank position. So whenever we're in high plank, you've always got the option to pop your knees down, especially if you feel a pressure on your lower back. But if not, we lift up, try to really straighten the legs. Even though the feet are hip width apart, you're feeling like your thighs are drawing and squeezing toward each other. And then the shoulder blades are drawing down the back and away from each other, so you're widening your upper back. Squeezing the belly in toward the spine. 3 breaths, feeling strength through the body. A micro bend in the elbows, so you're not locking into the arms. 1. And let's go back. Exhale into our down dog. So those feet are still hip distance. There's still a very soft bend in the elbows. And you're externally rotating the shoulders, so you're feeling like you're trying to turn the crease of the elbows up toward the ceiling. They won't go all the way around, but that's what you're trying to visualize. The hands are super active, pressing the mat away from you. And then that movement we did with the pelvis just a moment ago, we're feeling that same movement, like we're trying to show the sitting bones up to the ceiling and extending the lower back. Broadening the upper back so shoulder blades draw away from each other, and then just give the neck a nice soft shape so you can really release any tension you might be holding in the neck. And each exhale, pressing those heels down toward the mat. Breathing for 2. Breathing for 1. And we're going to roll back into our high plank position. And then you can drop the knees here if you need to, or keeping the knees up very slowly, lower onto your stomach. 3, 2, 1, all the way down into a cobra. So let's bring the feet together, really squeeze the bottom. Hands are just behind the shoulders. And inhale, lift the chest and shoulders up off the floor. Try to keep the hips down. And this is really an exercise for opening up the front of the body rather than a lower back stretch. So focus on pushing the chest forward through the shoulders. And you're just looking up very slightly so that the neck is relaxed. Breathing for 2. 1. Exhale, lower. And now a similar movement, and you can still use your hands for support if you want to, or if you've got kind of pain or a weakness in your lower back. If not, interlace the fingers behind you. Try to keep the feet on the floor, so you're really trying to press your toes and the tops of your feet on the mat. And then inhale, push those knuckles back behind you to lift the shoulders and open the front of the chest. Breathe for 3, 2, maybe lift high for your last breath. And exhale, release down. Good. Lifting back up to your down dog as you exhale. Tuck the toes under, bend the knees, push back. 3 breaths. trying to just think about some of that technique we went through so you can get the most from the down dog position, which is my favourite posture in yoga. Last breath. Let's start to tiptoe the feet toward forward fold. So we're going to take it really lightly, really lift up through the hips. So you're using your core and you're just lightly stepping toward the front of your mat. And then we'll take a small gap between the feet so that we can feel really stable. And then either you can bring the hands to the thighs, to the shins, or you can take ragdoll if you want to. So that's cupping each elbow in each hand, tucking the chin in toward the chest to extend the back of the neck. And then just really trying to feel a release in the upper back and the shoulders. You've got a really soft bend in your knees. So it's really subtle. So the legs almost look straight, but you're just making sure you're not locking back in the knee joints. You can sway side to side and focus on that feeling of grounding the feet. So you're kind of pressing all the parts of the feet into the earth. And this is our first energy root lock. Energy coming up through the feet, locking down, gluing down onto your mat. This is where our stability comes from. One more breath. Release the hands, bend the knees a little more, and then we'll gradually unfold vertebrae by vertebrae up near the back. Unfold middle back, upper back. Eventually those shoulders come back and down, and the head lifts last. Good. Let's draw those feet together. So we're coming into our Tadasana mountain position. If you want to, lift the toes up and then place them little toe first, back down onto the earth, eventually big toe. Grounding. Energy draws up through your Uddiyana Bandha. So this is like a triangle here. We have energy coming through the pelvic floor. So try to practice squeezing your pelvic floor, imagining you need a wee. And the abdominal muscles squeeze in towards the belly button and then kind of up underneath the ribs. You're feeling this lift up through your body as the feet are pressing down. The bottom squeezes, and if you have quite a bend in your lower back, then you try to tuck the tailbone under a little bit. So we're just aiming to get a nice straight back. Be careful you're not tucking under so much that you're then, that's it. Shoulder blades draw down the back. Fingers actively pointing down. Peace and calm across the chest and the face. Feeling really strong in our mountain posture with a quiet mind. Always gently guiding ourselves back to that present moment and feeling the sensations in every posture. Inhale, reach both hands up over the head and then come into a spinal twist. So let's twist to the right side, opening up the arms. Look either to the side or toward your back hand and try to keep your hips facing in front of you. Breathing for 2. Use the exhalations to try and twist a bit further. Last breath. Inhale, lift up. Over to the next side, twisting towards the left. Breathing, lifting tall and exhale, twist. Last breath. Inhale, reach the hands up over the head, palms come together into a small back bend, just to warm up that back. So squeeze the bottom, squeeze the thighs together, push the hips forward. If you feel ready to, let the head relax back. 2, 1. Inhale, lift. Head always comes last out of our back bend. Exhale, forward fold, Tadasana. Try not to sway back in the heels as you come down. You're tilting from the hips, trying to keep that spine nice and straight. Hands either to your shins or down towards the ground. Feel that lift in the pelvis, tilting up to the ceiling. extending the lower back. Inhale to halfway lift. So lift up a bit more so the head comes to the same height as the hips. And then exhale and allow yourself to release down further. Maybe softening the knees a bit more. And then inhale, come back to a halfway lift. Push the hips up, feel that extension lengthening through the spine. And then exhale back down to your full forward fold. Maybe a bit more bend in the knees. One more time, inhale, lift, extend. And then exhale down. Good. Bend the knees more so that you can press the hands into the floor and then step the left foot back to a low lunge. See if you can move with fluidity and control through your vinyasa and your sun salutations. We're in a runner's lunge, so really extending that back leg as much as we can. And we're going to bring that knee to the floor and point the back toe. Try to line up your knee with your ankle at your front leg, and let's breathe the arms up over the head. Either staying here might be enough stretch for your hip flexor. If you want to, you can lean back into a small back bend very slightly, opening and lifting the chest and pushing this left hip flexor forward and down towards the mat. Breathing 2, 1, and lift up. Hands either to the floor or to the heart. Tuck the toe under, lift back to your low lunge. And we're going to come into a twisted prayer. So we're going to twist round to our right side of the body and then lower down with control that left elbow outside the right knee. So we're in our twist, looking up toward the ceiling, really extending the back leg, trying to twist through the middle of the spine, imagining you're squeezing the thighs toward each other, toward the midline. Stability through the feet, pressing into the mats. Last breath. Lift back to the center, still in your lunge. And then we're going to open the arms so that we're opening the chest. Arms are behind the shoulders. And then extend the front leg and lift the arms up over the head. As you draw the elbows back to that first position, we come back into a lunge, bending the front knee. And then extend the arms and front leg. 2 more times. Lower down. And lift up. Exhale down, inhale lift, and let's open to the side to a warrior 2 position. So our front leg is bending, and we're trying to line up our front knee, our right knee with our right big toe, if you can see past your knee. And also trying to line up the right knee with the right ankle. Arms out to the side, shoulders relaxed down. Left foot's face to the side, 90 degrees. Pressing all of the parts of the feet on the floor, looking over past the right fingers. And in our warriors, we're focusing on strength and peace in the body. Let's breathe for 3 breaths, really feeling strength in this pose. Breathing into that belly, 2, 1. Sun warrior, inhale, release back. Opening the chest up to the sky, not pressing through your back left hand, but just resting it by the leg. Creating a C shape with the spine and the arm. Breathing 2, 1. Keep that lunge in the front leg. Humble warrior. Interlace those fingers behind you. See if you can press the wrists towards each other. And as you exhale, lower the chest down to the front thigh. Aiming to bring those hands over the head. That's what we're visualizing and aiming for. You can curve the back a little bit here to try and get that nice shoulder stretch. Still pushing the mat away from you in both directions with the feet. That's how you keep your stability. 2, 1. Now, keeping the legs in this position, bring the hands to the floor and see if you can swivel yourself round to a wide leg forward fold. So you're now facing the side. You might have your hands by your thighs, your shins, or rested on the floor. You want the toes just slightly turned inward from the heels. Take a nice inhale, maybe lift a little bit and see if you can lengthen From your head to your hips, you're stretching the spine out. Keep a soft bend in the knees, so again, not swaying back in the heels and locking into the knee joints. And as you exhale, you can see if you can release it a little bit further down. Just feel a stretch in those hamstrings, but without compromising your posture. Always prioritizing the length in your spine. 2 more deep breaths. 1 more, so maybe coming to your safe maximum for you. So you could stretch a little further if it feels good. Good, reach those hands up over the head, so your shoulders by your ears. And then maybe bending the knees a little more if you need to. Start to lift up nice and slow, all the way up to standing. And then we'll rotate that right foot back around to the front of the mat. Bend the right knee, windmill the arms down to the floor. Step back to a high plank. Holding here 3 breaths. You can drop the knees at any time. Draw the shoulders down the back. 1. And either putting the knees down or keeping them lifted, lower down slowly onto the stomach. Keeping those elbows tucked in. 2, 1, feet together, squeeze the bottom, inhale to Cobra. Focus on pushing chest through the shoulders, elbows tucking in. 2, squeezing the bottom. 1, tuck the toes under, exhale back to a downward facing dog. And we're going to step on feet in toward forward fold, so just stepping really lightly again. Feet come together. And we're going to inhale to a chair pose. Brush the fingertips by the mat. Lift the hands up over the head. If you want to, look into the thumbs. Sit the weight back in the heels. Belly squeezes in. Hips push back behind you and down to the earth. 5. Keep your breath steady. 4. 3. 2. 1, inhale, lift to Namaskarasana, nice long extension through the body into our back bend. Squeeze the bottom, squeeze the thighs together. Push the hips forward, see if you can relax the head back. See if you can come a little bit further than last time. 2, extend the arms. 1, inhale, lift. Head comes last. And exhale, forward fold, Tadasana. And we'll just do 1 set this time. Let's inhale to halfway lift. So we lift up a bit, head same height as hips. Really push the hips up, extending that lower back. And then we exhale back to forward fold. Bending through the knees, press the hands into the mat. Step that right foot back to a nice low lunge. Good. So checking you've got your left knee right above your left ankle, and you're really extending that back leg as much as you can, so we're creating a bit of stability into the earth. And then we're going to drop that back knee, point the back toes. Lift the hands up over the head on an inhale. Visualize pushing that right hip flexor down and toward the mat. If you want a bit more of a stretch, come into a small back bend. Think of lifting up, the fingertips being pulled up to the ceiling, and then on an exhale, releasing back. 1 more breath. And release up. Bring those hands either to the mat or to the heart. Tuck the back toe under, lift back up to your low lunge. Good. And we're going to come into that twisted prayer. Just round towards your left side of the body, and then lower that right elbow outside the left knee. And then looking up toward the ceiling. You're always kind of trying to keep your thumbs toward the heart and the midline of the chest. Extending that back leg as much as you can, keeping power and drive through your back toe and through your front foot, pressing into the mat. Breathing 2, breathing 1. Release back to the center. And a similar movement to we did on the other side. So we're going to open the chest, pull the arms back so the elbows bent. And then as you inhale, lift up, extend the front leg, extend the arms. Lunging down and elbows bend, push the chest forward and extend up. 2 more times. Lunge forward and lift. 1 more lunge. Inhale, lift. Let's open up to warrior 2 to face the side. So just checking that left big toe is lining up with our left knee and our left knee is lining up with our left ankle. Right toe is 90 degrees to the side, shoulders rest down, fingertips reaching up to each side, squeezing that belly in, trying not to let the bottom stick out. Breathing in strength and peace for our warrior position. Breathing 2, 1. Inhale to sun warrior, creating that C shape with the spine. Fingertips just rested in your back leg, but try not to put weight through them. Keep that lunge in your front leg. Open the chest. Keep your breath steady. Breathing for 2, 1. And lifting up, interlace the fingers behind the body. See if you can press the wrists toward each other. Nice deep inhale, long exhalation, bring that chest down to your front thigh. Aiming to push the hands over the head, allowing the back to curve slightly if needed to feel that shoulder stretch. Still feeling all parts of the feet pressing into the mat, so don't let that back ankle roll in. Breathing for 2. Breathing for 1. Good. And we're going to bring the hands straight down onto the mat. Rotate the back leg inwards, so you're up onto your back toe in a runner's lunge, and then step back to a high plank position. Holding for 3. 2, knees can come down at any time. 1, and slowly lower down onto the stomach. 1, and inhale, feet together, squeeze the bottom, lift to Cobra. Now, if you want to, option to try and take your hands off just to test yourself, and then really feel the tops of the feet and toes pressing into the mat, bottom squeezing and lower back muscles contracting as well to lift that chest up. Breathing 2. Maybe lifting higher. 1. And hands back down. Tuck the toes under, bend the knees. Exhale back to down dog. 3 breaths here. Check you're not holding any tension in that neck. Maybe give it a shake. Your legs might feel a bit more warmed up, so you might be able to exhale and press a bit of weight through the heels at the back. Keep those abdominal muscles active, so belly squeezing in and those hips lifting up. 1 last breath. Gently walk those feet in toward the hands. Feet together. Coming into 1 last child's pose. Brush the fingertips by the mat. Lift the hands up over the head. Hands can be apart or together. Press that weight back into the heels, maybe lifting the toes. Squeezing the belly in, sitting right back. Length through the spine. Shoulders down. Looking to the thumbs if you want to. Maybe sitting lower. 3. Nice steady breath. 2. Keeping yourself present. 1. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hands to your heart. Pausing here for a moment. Taking a minute, taking a breath to refocus. And really just trying to completely immerse yourself in your practice. Exhale, release the hands by your side. Lovely. So we're going to come into some balance exercises now. I'm going to have a quick sip of water. I've got that sunshine right on me, which is lovely. It makes me hot. Okay. Coming to the centre of your mat. Feet are together. Really active through your feet. Sit in balance. You kind of need to use your feet even more. So actually feeling the sides of the feet, the balls, the heels and the toes, all working hard to keep you rooted and stable. And again, the core works even harder, so that pelvic floor especially really helps with our balance. So you're feeling a push of energy down through the feet and a lift of energy up through the body. So see if you can feel those two forces. Bringing the hands to the heart, thumbs into the chest. And setting an intention as you come into balance that you're going to try not to get frustrated with yourself or let any self-critical thoughts come into your mind. And if they do, just try to challenge that and see if you can change it to acceptance and love, speaking to yourself kindly, and knowing that balance changes every day for many different reasons. And we just have to roll with it, try to keep patient. So it's really a mental exercise more than physical. Either looking down to the floor a couple of meters ahead of you, or softly closing the eyes. Shift your weight slightly forward onto the toes, keeping those shoulders and the face relaxed. See if you can very slightly take some weight off the heels, so you can actually almost still feel the heels on the mat. So my heels are actually still just touching my mat, but all of my weight is on the balls of the feet. And you'll feel yourself get a little bit wobbly, but we're just trying to wake up some of those muscles that help us balance. So the calves will probably be working. See if you can squeeze those thighs together for more stability. And see if you can do it all with a calm and peaceful facial expression. Steady with your breath. Maybe lifting the heels up a bit further. It's natural to wobble, it's normal to wobble. 3, 2, maybe higher for your last breath. 1, and release those heels down. That's hard work. We're going to come into our tree pose. So you can keep the hands here, or you can take the hands to your hips. Let's breathe that right knee really high as you can. Strengthens our hip flexor. Lift for 2. Lift higher for 1, and then either coming into our normal tree pose, so holding your ankle and bringing the foot either to the calf or to the inside of the thigh, or for advanced tree pose, you can hold your ankle, try to lift that foot high, squeeze that heel in towards your groin, and then let the foot unfold on the top of your thigh, turning that sole out like a book. The knee is pushing out and dropping down. And then you can bring your hands back to your heart. If you wanted to, you could take the right hand behind and see if you can hold those right toes for a bit of a shoulder stretch. You can also hold the toes of the left hand as well, if that helps you. Breathing. 3. Pushing that knee out to the side, opening the hip. 2, squeezing the belly in. 1, either supporting your ankle or just keeping the hands at the heart. Squeeze that knee in towards your chest. Lift it high for 2, 1, and then either place the foot down for a moment of rest or come straight to a Padangusthasana. So we take our left hand to our hip and our right middle and index finger hold our big toe. And then just try to lift up tall through your posture to start with and keep those shoulders square to the front and down. And then if you feel you can start extending that front right leg. But don't let it compromise your posture. So if your shoulders start pulling forward, try to keep that right shoulder pulling back. Grow tall through the top of the head. Keep your breath steady for 3, 2, 1. Take the hands to the hips. See if you can hover the leg out there, lifting it higher. 3, 2, 1. Nice and slowly down. Ooh, I can feel that in my left leg. Okay, let's come on to the next side. So feet together, hands to the heart. Shifting that weight onto the right foot, grounding through your right foot. Let's lift the left knee high and towards the chest. Higher, 3, squeezing up, 2, 1. And then either taking that foot to below your knee or to the inside of the thigh, or for advanced, supporting your ankle, lift the foot high, press the heel into your groin, open the foot like a book onto the top of the thigh. You can keep holding those toes there, or you can bring your hands to the heart. You can take that left hand behind you and see if you can hold those left toes. Keep that left knee pressing out to the side and down towards the floor. Breathing for 3, 2, squeezing that belly in, 1. And then either supporting your ankle with your hands or squeezing that knee up into the chest. Squeezing it higher, 2, 1. And either place that foot down for a moment of rest or come straight to your Tadasana. Right hand to the hip and left middle and index finger hold your big toe. Your hand comes to the inside of your foot, so inside of the knee. Firstly, think about your posture, become aware of growing really tall and keeping that left shoulder back, so try not to let that left shoulder fall forward. Then start to extend really slowly and gradually, never compromising your posture. Feel that those two forces pressing down and lifting up. And breathe. 3, 2, 1. See if you can hold the leg there and take the hands to the hips. Lift it higher. 3, 2, 1. And release down. Lovely. Well done. So I thought today we would finish our balance off with practicing our half moon posture. So you can, if you have a free wall, you can actually do this posture up against a wall so that you've got a bit of support. It will look something like that. And then you can always shift forward to practice without the wall. You can also use a block or a book to put your hand on so that you don't have to reach down so far. Okay, so we'll stand to the very top of our mat. Feet are together. Feel that strength up through your bandha, your energy locks. And let's step that left foot back behind us. And we'll turn out to a warrior 2 position with our right leg forward. Now start to make sure your right knee is lined up with the right big toe. Start to transfer your weight forward onto your right leg. Right fingertips will reach down toward the floor and the fingertips are supporting you. See if you can then lift that left back leg and the left fingertips are reaching up. You can keep a small bend in your right knee if you need to. You're aiming for a 90-degree angle with the legs. So you don't want to lift that back leg too high. And then if you felt ready, you could try taking those right fingertips off the floor. Very natural to wobble because it's quite an advanced balance. So just remember to keep patient and kind thoughts and just keep giving it a go and giving it a practice. Feel like your left heel is driving away and your fingertips are reaching apart and your right foot is pressing down. So you've got energy stretching your body out, lengthening the body out. 3, 2, 1. Release back to that warrior 2. And depending on where you're facing, if you're facing the camera, you might need to switch around, or you can simply change the feet. So we're now left facing warrior 2 this time. Lining up the left knee with the left big toe. Already shoulders reaching down and the fingertips reaching apart. Start to shift across to the left toe. So weight going through your left foot. Fingertips reach to the floor. Right foot lifts. Right heel driving away from you. Nice open shoulders and open hips. So you're aiming to get sort of one line with the body. So avoid that right hip twisting forward. Maybe playing around with taking the left fingertips off the floor. Feel that reach apart with the body in different directions. Keep giving it a practice, remembering you can have a soft bend in your left knee as well if needed. Let's breathe. 3, 2, 1. Stepping back to our warrior 2. Bringing those feet together. Just taking one last balance. Lift to our chair pose. And then keeping those knees, ankles and thighs squeezing toward each other. See if you can come up onto the tiptoes in that chair pose. And then we're going to try and keep it as slow and controlled as we can. Bring the hands to the heart and start to very gradually sit down onto those heels. And we want to try and keep a level between the knees and the hips. So imagining we could balance a face on the lap. Breathe for 3, 2, 1. See if you can lift back to your chair pose before bringing those heels down. You might feel quite hard. My legs are already tired, so let's lift back up. 2, 1. Release those heels down. Lovely, well done. I'm going to do a quick time check to see how we're doing. Perfect. Okay. We're going to make our way down onto the mat. Some hip and back stretches. So standing at the top of the mat, inhale, breathe the arms high. Exhale, forward fold. And let's step that left foot back first. Press those hands through the mat. And then let's bring the right foot back. So we're in a high plank. And we're just going to take a moment just to do a little bit of awakening the core. So we're going to come down onto the elbows. So that we're in a low plank on the elbows. And then you can bring your knees down here if you needed to. Or keep lifting up. And then as you exhale, walk the toes in a little bit. Push the hips up to the ceiling and open the shoulders and open the chest. And release back to that plank, dolphin plank position. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See if you can walk back up to your high plank. And lower down onto the stomach really nice and slowly. Knees down if you need. 4, 3, 2, 1. Lovely. Into a cobra. Inhale. Push that chest forward. Tuck the toes under. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, right leg lifts to 3-legged dog. And then bend that right knee so that your right toes point toward your left shoulder. And that should help you to open the hips out a little bit more. You could also come down into your left elbow, which also helps you to open out the side of the body. Breathing 3, 2, 1. Lift back up onto that left hand And extend that right leg. And then bring that right knee forward through between the hands. Drop that back knee so we're in a horse riding pose. Reach the fingertips down towards the mat. Then if you wanted to, coming into a lizard pose, so that's bringing those hands on the inside of the right foot and coming down maybe onto those forearms and elbows. And now we're just trying to really breathe kind of relaxation into our hips to allow them to let go, relax, and embrace that feeling of stretch. If your right knee rocks out to the side, that's okay. Let's take 3 nice deep slow breaths, bringing back that longer exhalation. 2. For the last one, just see if you've got any more give, any more space to come into a deeper stretch. Just for that last breath. And lift back up onto the hands. And we're going to come into a pigeon pose. So let that foot and knee, right knee find the floor. You want a roughly 45-degree angle. And you want your hips to be sitting quite central. Back leg is pointed and extended. And now you have 2 options here. So you can either exhale and bring the chest down towards the front leg, or if you want to add on a quad stretch for your back leg, turning towards your left side, take that left hand behind you, see if you can hold inside that left foot. You can lean forward onto your right hand a bit here, and then just start squeezing that heel in toward the bottom. If you wanted to, you could practice your mermaid or swan position, which is tucking the left toes inside the left elbow and then reaching the right fingertips over. Let's have 3 more breaths. Try to use these to find a deeper, nicer stretch for yourself. 2. Last breath, finding more depth if you can. And slowly releasing your back leg if you were your quad stretch. And then we're going to actually swing that back leg round toward the front and practice our lotus position. So we'll be bringing that left leg on top. So for your lotus, you can either have the left foot behind that right knee or the left foot up onto that right thigh. And you kind of want to try and squeeze that up in towards the groin, towards the hips. If you want to come to a full lotus, just bring that right foot up on top of that left leg. Holding here. Breathing nice and deeply. 3, 2, 1. Unraveling nice and gently. Crossing the legs just normally, rocking forward onto the hands, and then step those feet back and exhale back to your down dog. And we're going to just come into that same hip sequence on the left side. So let's inhale, breathe the left foot high. Bend that left knee so your left toes point towards your right shoulder. Maybe come down to the right elbow. And you're really kind of leaning into the right side of the body to allow that left hip to open. 3, 2, 1. Lift up onto the right hand, nice and steady, nice and slow. Extend that left leg. And then the left knee comes forward between your hands. Back knee drops, Shavasana. Left knee lines up with your left ankle. Reach those fingers down toward the mat. Trying to drive that right hip flexor down and forward. 2, 1. Maybe if it feels right for you, coming onto those forearms or the elbows. And if that left knee naturally rocks out to the side, then just allow it to go there. Here, really focusing on your use of breath to relax the body. Sometimes in stretches, we don't even notice areas where we could be tensing up. So become really aware and in tune with yourself. And see if you are holding tension in your neck or face. Two more breaths. Lifting back up onto the hands. Let's find your pigeon pose. So left knee and left foot finds the floor to about 45-degree angle. And you can feel that stretch on the outside of the thigh. And the knee feels comfortable. Back leg is extended. Now either take a nice long exhale and rest your chest down and towards your front leg, or come to a quad stretch, turn to your right side, right hand comes out behind you, holding the inside of that right leg, and pressing, squeezing that heel in towards the bottom. Really focusing on trying to keep that front of the thigh, the quad muscle, relaxed. If you want to, finding your mermaid or swan pose, so taking the right toes inside the right elbow, the right hand points up to the ceiling, and then the left hand reaches back. Breathing for 3, 2, 1. Nice and slowly release, keeping that control. And rock that back leg round to the front, coming into that half lotus position. Right leg on top. Right foot can either come behind that left knee or up onto the left thigh. If it's on the left thigh, try and squeeze it in towards you to come right to the top of the thigh towards the groin. And then pressing that right thigh down. So if you do want to press on that top thigh, careful not to press on the knee, always press on the actual thigh. Maybe coming into your full lotus if it feels comfortable for you. Breathing deeply. 3, 2, 1. Slowly unraveling. Lovely. Let's bring those feet straight out in front of us into a forward fold. So make sure you're sitting on the sitting bones beneath you. Maybe rock that fleshy part of the bottom out to the side, so you can really push those hips back and feel that extension in your lower back. Feet are flexed. And then on an exhale, try to lead with your chest going towards your shins. And try not to start rounding and looking down until you can actually feel the stomach and the thighs. So if you can't feel the stomach and the thighs, just keep feeling that chest pushing forward towards the shins and towards the toes. And look towards the toes. Unless your chest is laying onto the legs, then you can look down toward the shins. If you did have a strap near you, you could use your strap around the soles of the feet here. Or you can always hold the outside of the feet if you find that helpful. Really try and work with your breath, because as you exhale, you get more space in the body, so you can try and find a deeper stretch. Breathing for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, lifting back up, and let's lie onto the back just to come into a big back stretch and then into our relaxation. Quick time check. Good. So let's bring those feet in toward the hips. We're coming into our bridge pose. So the knees are lined up with the hips. Palms flat on the mat against the floor. Now try not to let those knees splay out to the side, keep them parallel. As you inhale, squeeze the bottom and start to push the hips up toward the ceiling. If you want to, you can walk a little bit up onto the shoulders more, and then really just keep actively pressing those hip flexors up, pushing the chest toward your chin. Breathing for 3, 2, 1. Maybe a last push, and then roll your way back down, upper back, middle back, eventually lower back, and then the hips down. Lovely. And to finish off today, before we come into our Shavasana, we're going to come into our happy baby pose. So firstly, just tuck the hips under a little bit more so that you can feel the whole length of your back against the mat. And then see if you can hold either the soles of the feet, so bring the hands inside the feet and then wrap the palms over the soles of the feet, or if you want to, you can hold the big toes with the middle and index finger and press those knees right by your ribs down towards the floor. If the hips lift, try to think about the hips pressing back down onto the mat. It's okay if they don't press onto the mat, they might naturally lift. And then if you wanted a little bit more of a stretch to finish off with here, you could start to extend the legs. And you can either hold the thighs, the calves, or still holding those feet or the big toes. Good. Breathing for 3, 2, 1. Let's bend those knees. Just take a moment to hug the knees in toward the chest, holding over the tops of the shins. And on an exhale, let's come into our Shavasana. Taking those legs kind of to either side of the mat so they're quite wide. And hands can either rest over the stomach or just by your side with those palms facing up. And then let yourself just fall naturally into the floor. On an exhale, if you haven't already, just gently soften the eyes closed. And I'm just going to be sitting up so that I can guide you through our relaxation to finish off the class. So we've got about 6 minutes to breathe and meditate. Let's begin with just checking in with where our thoughts are at, if we can bring ourselves into the present moment. So just acknowledge if you do have any worries or things that keep popping into the mind, and just be okay with that and gently guide yourself back to focusing on your breath. Your breath is like your anchor, so it's always there to focus on. And then we're just going to do a very gentle relaxation exercise of scanning down the body from head to toe. Trying to work with our breath, so we're not trying to change or manipulate the breath, but we're just using it to try and relax certain areas of the body. Bringing awareness to the very top of your head. And trying to visualize and feel a wave of relaxation start to shower down and pour down across your body. Bringing light and warmth and peace wherever it touches. Start to release across your forehead and between the eyebrows. So no frowning or expression, just completely softening the face. And see if you can allow the eyes to be still, just focusing on one dark spot behind the eyelids. Begin to release through your jaw. Allow the tongue to drop down from the roof of the mouth and rest just behind the bottom teeth. Relaxing across the jawline and down the neck. And as you bring your attention to your shoulders, don't be worried about where the shoulders are laying and what their position is. Just let them fall wherever they are. Letting them surrender down and drop down into the mat. And feeling this wave of calm travel right down the arms to the fingertips. And if it feels good for you, as you inhale, you can squeeze the hands into the fists. Squeeze as hard as you can, and as you exhale, allow those fingers to soften and uncurl and drop down toward the earth. And starting to focus on your back. Feeling that movement as you breathe into your back. Aiming to try and relax each muscle, each joint. Noticing if you're holding tension or you feel any discomfort anywhere. And using your exhalations to try and breathe this out of the body. And feel lightness travel across your chest, bringing light and warmth into the heart, softening as it waves and flows down the body. And see if you can try to really let go of those stomach muscles that we've worked quite hard today. So really let the stomach drop, let go, release. Relaxing with each breath. Softening across the hips, across the lower back muscles, glute muscles, all the way down the thighs. Allowing the legs to be heavy and let go into the earth, right to the toes. Now just allowing yourself to wholeheartedly feel your relaxation in the body. Allowing yourself to be still and silent just for a moment. And now very gently starting to bring small movements back to the body. So wiggling the toes and the fingers. Maybe roll the head side to side just to awaken the neck. If you want to, you can reach the hands up over the head and point the toes away from you to stretch out the body just like you would in the morning. And then in your own time, start to roll onto the right side. Resting in that fetal position for a moment. And then trying to keep the eyes closed, softly lift yourself to a sitting position, crossing legs, allowing those hands to melt down onto the knees. Dropping that chin slightly so it's parallel to the floor. Feeling the sitting bones underneath you. Gentle lift through your posture. Relaxing the shoulders down. Take a moment to reflect on how you're feeling now, physically and mentally. Any changes from before your practice. And draw those hands to the heart, thumbs pressing to the chest, connecting with your heartbeat. Loka Samasta, Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings be happy and free. Slowly bowing forward and down slightly. And as you inhale, allow the eyes to slowly open. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me for practice today. That was nice.